Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Grill Nation show with Jason Grill. Thanks for joining us today. If you're listening on the radio or on 980 KMBZ, or if you're joining us via podcast on Google Podcasts, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Stitcher, we're all over the podcast world. If you're joining us on the website, grillnationshow.com, we greatly appreciate it as well. Or if you're joining us on our social media today, thank you so much. We greatly appreciate it. We love doing these live streams, and we're trying to give you connections to our guests that are not only on the radio, on podcasts, but also on video. We're all over the place on social media, so we really appreciate it. We really appreciate you joining us each and every week. Again, today's show is going to be awesome. We're joined by some really great guys and a collaborator with the Grill Nation show, Chad Esslinger, founder at Esslinger Financial. Their website is esslingerfinancial.com. Putting that up on the screen right now. I'm going to unmute Chad here for a second. Chad, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Jason, how are you doing?
It's great. So we also are joined today by Frank Sciara, who is the vice president at Grandbridge Real Estate Capital. Their website is grandbridge.com. Welcome to the show, Frank.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you as well. We're going to start here with Chad for a little bit, and then we'll get to Frank. It's going to be a really cool show. Chad, so what have you been up to? What have you been up to these days, my friend?
Well, I was looking back when we last talked, Jason. I cannot believe it was March. So, I mean, it's almost September. It'll be September tomorrow, and it's just this year is flying by. I'm sure everybody feels that way. But so, I mean, we went on vacation. We've been to Colorado. I've hired a junior partner in the practice who I've been training and developing. I don't know. Life is good. Life's been good. We've been busy, we're having fun, and now the kids are back in school, so we can gain our sanity back. Thank goodness.
Yeah, your home office looks nice. You got the guitar back there. You got a nice setup. Yes, I can't believe that was March, man. I don't even remember what we talked about back then.
It's a blur to me. But I'm sure it was great, though. I'm sure it was great.
It was great. So real quickly, you mentioned you've hired more folks at your company. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So Alex Brown, the guy that we sought after within our organization, younger guy, hard worker, really a student of this business, and really active learner. We're just trying to continue to scale and add the ability to service our existing clients as well as bring more value to them. And it's been good. I mean, he started in May, and so we're still, in that early phases of what that looks like. But we'll continue to develop that individual so that, it can replicate another Chad Esslinger. It's inevitable that you need to have the ability to leverage and be able to utilize your time most efficiently and effectively. So that's where we're at right now. It's been good so far.
It's always a tough choice, right? You gotta train, you gotta mentor, but then also it helps you in the long run.
Absolutely.
I'm glad that you've made that leap, man. That's impressive. I still haven't done that yet. So, anyways,
it's not easy, I can tell you, but it's definitely worth it. I can see the fruits of that already.
So Frank, welcome back to the show. Frank Sciara, Vice President, Grandbridge Real Estate Capital. Frank, we're going to get into this more in the second segment, but tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and kind of your company.
Yeah, happy to. So I don't know how much background you really want me to get into, but born and raised here in Kansas City. I've known Jason now, gosh, what's it been? I was thinking about this just as the call started. I think it's over 25 years now.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know it was that long.
Is that aging you or what? It's definitely aging me. All the way back
St.
to
Pius X, like class of 96. You were in 96, I was 97, correct?
That's right. So all the way back to sophomore year of high school. So 28 years ago, long time. Born and raised here in Kansas City. Still living, 2 little boys, 7 and 3. And Grandbridge Real Estate Capital, I don't know if you want me to get into detail of that, but I've been there now for 16 years. High level, we specialize in providing financing for all types of commercial property. It's a great market right now. It's a borrower's market. Lenders are active. So it's been a busy year, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Totally busy. Question for both of you guys. I'm making sure your sound's okay there. What are some of the trends that you're seeing right now across your industries, or is there anything that you're working on currently that you're excited about? Chad, let's start with you.
Well, I think the theme of this year is this, where's this market going? And, I think I'm sure Frank can say as well that the Fed is accommodating, right? Interest rates are held low. There's still asset purchases happening. And I think room to run here, especially with the Fed and their position and Powell's commentary. So that's obviously been beneficial. It's allowed our clients and businesses to continue to expand and borrow at low rates and help with that. So yeah, I'm bullish on where we're at right now, and I think that as far as trends go, I mean, it's clear we're all in our houses right now. So that the trend has been for our industry and for a lot of people is that the in-person footprint of meeting face to face with our clients has obviously changed dramatically. So when will we get back to the office and see more of that continue? Not sure, but it's our clients are comfortable with it, and we've been efficient as a team. And so for now, we're comfortable with what we're doing as far as working remotely in most cases.
Mm-hmm. Frank, where are you at on that? As far as some trends you're seeing and some projects you're excited about?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest trend that's recent here that we're seeing, and really COVID just exacerbated it, is the trend to more e-commerce. And on the property side, we're seeing that with the development of industrial property, this large warehouse distribution facilities, and then figuring out the last mile. It seems like you can pretty much buy anything online and have it on your front door within 24, 48 hours. So I think COVID, with everyone being at home, working from home, it's really just shot up even more. The growth rate over the last 12, 18 months is incredible. I think even on the grocery side, that was always considered kind of the last safe haven. People always wanted to go to the grocery store and do their own shopping. I think that really, over the last 12, 18 months, also, you see a lot of people doing online grocery shopping. So I think that's gonna continue.
I have not done that yet. Have either of you guys done that? I just picture Chad at the Brookside Price Chopper or whatever, just like, running through the aisles, man. I guess I've never seen either of you guys at a grocery store before.
We've converted. We definitely converted during COVID. I'd say 80% of the time it's an online order. If you're doing something last minute, invite some friends over, throwing some steaks on the grill or something, that's something I think you're still doing in person. But I'd say for the regular weekly shopping, it's online now.
That's awesome. I got to just throw a plug before we go to break about Frank Sciara's ability to throw a neighborhood party for his kids. I've never seen a bigger water slide on front driveway than I saw at his house a few weeks ago. So, Dad of the Year, I guess. Father of the Year. Sorry, Chad.
He always has time to me.
Yeah, right. Today on today's show, we have on Chad Esslinger, founder at Esslinger Financial. The website is esslingerfinancial.com. Also joined today by Frank Sciara, who's the vice president at Grandbridge Real Estate Capital. Their website is grandbridge.com. We're going to get more into what Grandbridge does, take a deeper dive into that and how Chad and Frank have worked together, as well as talk about more updates in their industries throughout this show. You're listening to the Grill Nation Show here on 980 AM KMBZ on podcast or on our website, grillnationshow.com. We'll be right back. Hi, guys. Give me 1 second here.
Yeah, you're good.
My timer kept going off the screen.
One thing that's changed, Jason, since we last met is this hair, huh?
Well, I can't see it as well as I hope I would have been able to. I looked great in the last 3 weeks ago when I saw you. Don't get it cut, man. Don't get it cut.
It's just getting longer and longer. And the hair and the gray hair gets more evident as it gets longer.
I love it. We're just recording the first segment here, guys.
Okay.
Frank, I want to pick up kind of where we left off with you. We're still live, of course, but kind of with, more about your background and kind of the journey into this industry that you're in. Because you have been in it now for quite a while and at the same company, so I'm fascinated by that.
Okay.
We talk a lot about business and entrepreneurship and leadership on the show, and so I think it'd be cool to hear kind of the standpoint of you. Obviously working in your industry for such a long time, and kind of you've had very few changes as far as companies and whatnot.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's really only my I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I say go ahead. We're just in break. He's getting ready to roll her actually. So we'll start there. Okay. Okay. In 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Grill Nation show with Jason Grill. Thanks for listening again today on whether you're on the radio on 980 AM, on social media, watching us here on the live stream or on podcast. We greatly appreciate it. You can connect with me all over social media. I'm on Twitter at Jason Grill and at Grill Nation Show, also on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Just search for at Jason Grill. Also, you can listen to or watch any of our shows on our YouTube page. That's just search for YouTube. Go to YouTube and search for Grill Nation Show with Jason Grill. We post all of our shows, all of our sneak peeks, all to the YouTube page. And as always, you can connect with me on the website at grillnationshow.com. I want to thank our guests today. We're a great collaborator with the Grill Nation Show, Chad Esslinger, who's the founder at Esslinger Financial, and Frank Sciara, who's the vice president at Grandbridge Real Estate Capital. Two great leaders in our community, as well as fabulous business folks here locally. Let's start with Frank. Frank, we were kind of briefly talking about kind of what Grandbridge does, but before we get to that more in depth, I kind of want to talk to you about your journey. You mentioned on the first segment you've been with Grandbridge for 16 years, which is quite a long time to be with one business. Tell us about kind of why you decided to do that. I know you've only been with one other company in your career, and kind of what the investment banking, kind of the financial world is like as a person, because I think you're in such an industry that nobody really is clear about kind of what happens or how it works. So I'm interested to know more about kind of what you're doing and kind of why you decided to stick with one company.
Yeah, no, great question. So, I started out of college. My first job was investment banking. All through college, I was a finance major. It was back during the dot-com boom. It just seemed like everybody wanted to be an investment banker. That's what I thought I wanted to do. I did it for 4 years with a great company here in Kansas City. I learned a ton. I just kind of really, it was really random how I ended up in commercial real estate. I was kind of burnt out on my first job. And honestly, I met my brother-in-law for happy hour one day. And my brother-in-law is in commercial real estate as an industrial broker. And he happened to introduce me to a couple of guys that I worked with previously. They're no longer with the company, but it sounded interesting. I met them for lunch a couple of times, gave them my resume. They brought me into the office, and, as I say, the rest is history. So I've been there 16 years now. I feel like it was a good fit for me. I've always had a strong interest in commercial real estate. And then the combination of that with my finance background. So I really, it was a right fit for me, and I really enjoy what I'm doing. I think that would be my advice to anybody, is find something that you really enjoy doing, because then it doesn't feel like work when you wake up every morning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so tell us about that again. Grandbridge Capital, kind of what you're doing, some of the services you offer and some of the verticals you work in.
Yeah, so Grandbridge, just kind of the quick high-level overview. We're one of the largest commercial mortgage banking firms in the country. We have 30 offices nationwide. We really specialize and focus on providing financing for commercial real estate. Debt.
Lost Frank there. Chad, are you there?
I'm here. Good to see me in here.
Okay. We lost Frank, so we'll carry on with the show with you and how you and Frank got connected. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so funny. It's kind of a funny short story. So I work at Orange Theory in Brookside every morning, and I read the Kansas City Business Journal religiously. And Frank, it was a recent article that he wrote in the Kansas City Business Journal. So I saw it, and his face was obviously a part of the article. And I was like, well, hey, I just read Frank's article. I went up and said hi to him, and somehow we all have all these connections. He was at Milburn Country Club, and I was as well, and we just haven't played golf with each other yet. And then it turned out his kids were the same age as my two younger boys, and they're in the same school at visitation with each other. So it was like, we work out together. We should be playing golf together, and our kids should be hanging out together. So, the rest is history on that.
It leads to career success too. Frank, we lost you there for a second. Kind of fill us in where you were at Grandbridge with services and whatnot. Chad did a great job filling in there.
I appreciate that, Chad. Thank you.
You bet.
As I was saying, we specialize in providing financing for all types of multifamily and commercial property. It's mostly focused on the debt side of the capital stack, but we also can help assist with raising equity as well. It's, again, all on the multifamily side, it's market rate, it's student, it's senior, it's affordable housing. On the commercial side, it's industrial, it's office, it's retail, it's self-storage, it's hospitality. Not a lot of hospitality right now, but it's also hospitality. So that's kind of our niche. We don't we're not property managers, we're not leasing agents, we're not investment sales. We just focus on helping our clients find the best capital solutions, financing solutions for their property.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us, Frank, some of the projects you've worked on in Kansas City?
Yeah, let me think of one.
Over your 16 years, is there any success stories over your 16 years of tutelage and at Grandbridge that you're really proud of?
I think what's interesting is, people always assume it's going to be the large deals, right? And the large deals are always exciting. They're fun to work on. You drive by and you see them every time you pass them in town. But those smaller projects, that 50-unit property where it's, maybe just worth $2 or $3 million, that is so important to somebody, that owner of that property. I mean, that's their livelihood. And to me, those are just as exciting to work on because you realize how important it is not only to maybe the person that owns that property, but also maybe if it's an apartment complex, who's living there. If it's a small office building, what companies are tenants there. So really, it's a wide range. I try to treat every one of them the same. If I had to throw a few out that people might be more familiar with, the Kansas City Power and Light Apartments in downtown. We financed that. I was fortunate enough to work on that deal, which was a lot of fun. Lots of multifamily throughout the metro area we've worked on. Lots of industrial, lots of office, and it's not just Kansas City. I mean, we'll do projects nationwide. We can go to all 50 states, so there's nothing keeping us. We're not geographically constrained in any way.
Yeah, you kind of took the words out of my mouth for my next question was why is this work so impactful in KC and throughout the U.S.? I think you really spelled it out well, talking about how it's not just the big glitzy ribbon cutting type, groundbreaking type, ceremony type places. It's also the smaller places that change people's lives. So that's pretty exciting stuff. Chad, how have you worked with, or Frank, how have you worked with Chad and kind of what he does over your life? How have you kind of your worlds kind of collided, I guess you would say? Is there, whether that's through relationship building, whether that's through friendships, partnerships, how would you say that's kind of evolved?
Yeah, I think we're doing similar things. We're reaching out to similar types of clients, but we're helping them in different ways. I think that's probably how there's some overlap where I'm maybe helping a client with maybe their portfolio of real estate. Chad might be helping more with their investments and on their more estate planning and other things, services that he provides. So, but we're calling on the same people and we're just helping them in different ways.
Yeah, Chad, why don't you carry on that conversation with regards to who you can help and work with?
Yeah, I think Frank hit it on the head. Is that Kansas City is a big small town, right? And we're meeting a lot of similar people, and it's a relationship business, and as well as his. And I think there's a real opportunity just to keep your antennas up and eyes and ears open for opportunities to enhance our client relationships by introducing them to a Frank that can help them, with their investment opportunities, or maybe there's a banking relationship or person I can connect Frank to that will be beneficial, and vice versa. So it's just, to me, it's always about relationships. So making those connections is the critical thing for me. Mm-hmm.
You guys both have very competitive worlds, I would assume. Like your competition is strong as far as kind of what you're working on. What are some of the things you try to do to stand out, on top of the relationships?
Frank, you take that one.
At the end of the day, I tell my client, our money's green like everybody else. We're a service provider. So trying to just really go above and beyond. We try to take a deal from cradle to grave from when we first start working on it and just make our client's life as easy as possible until we close. And just that's really, I think that's how you separate it. I think people hopefully like to work with people, that they like and like being around. So it doesn't always feel like it's work when you're in that person's presence. I don't want somebody to think every time I'm calling them, it's because I'm trying to sell them something. I really like to meet my clients, like to know who they are, I like to know about their families, like to know about their kids and what they're doing and their backgrounds and how they got to where they are today. I think that's always interesting to me.
Mm-hmm. Which is important because you work for a company that has offices and networks throughout the country. And
Yeah.
on that note, tell us again about the size of the office here in Kansas City.
Yeah, so here locally we have about 10 people in our production office. And out of that, we have 4 producers, a couple analysts that support us, an admin and a closer. We will, here out of our Kansas City office alone, we'll do $600 to $700 million in loan origination every year, again, across the country. What we probably consider our local market is Kansas City and anything within about a day trip. So kind of Lincoln and Omaha to the north, Columbia, Northwest Arkansas, Springfield, Wichita, Lawrence, Topeka, even into Oklahoma a little bit would be what we consider our local market. But commercial real estate has really become more liquid. I think more people are investing, and just through relationships, outside of that, starting in that kind of home market, we end up kind of going coast to coast.
That's awesome. We're talking about Grandbridge Real Estate Capital on the show. The website is grandbridge.com. Also joined today by a great collaborator of the show, Chad Esslinger. He joined us way back in March, which is just crazy to me. That's the last time he was on. His website is Esslinger, ESSLINGER, financial.com. Been in this business for how long, Chad?
This is my 15th year.
So just slightly shorter than Frank at Grandbridge.
Yeah, it's crazy. Goes fast.
And you are growing your company as well, obviously, with the same personal touch you had when you put up your first client, correct?
That's correct, and it's a different world, obviously, that we live in now than when I started, which aging ourselves. But man, when I first started, the iPhone was barely in existence, and there certainly wasn't this Zoom or the capabilities we have today. So lots changed, but lots still stays the same. It's a relationship business that people like to work with people they want to hang out with, just like Frank just mentioned. So, which to me is a blessing, right? Because if you can surround yourself with people you really enjoy and like hanging out with, then it really doesn't feel like a job to me. It feels like a passion and a career. So I've been very blessed because of that. So.
Great stuff from Chad and Frank. We'll be right back after the break with more of the Grill Nation show. Thanks for joining us today. Okay, we got segment 3 popping up here in a second. As soon as we're going to start with multifamily on this segment, if that's cool, Frank.
What are we going to do next?
Multifamily industry.
Sure, that works. Give me 1 second.
Let me mute Frank's mic real quick.
How was that golf course in Seattle? That looked amazing.
Oh my gosh, we're going to talk about that in one of these segments, but I can't wait to show you guys some video of Chambers Bay. It was it's the only golf course I think you can actually stand at the clubhouse and see every hole on the golf course.
Oh, that's cool.
It's up above. It's a bucket list, man. I'll go back out there anytime. It was so cool.
Well, not only that, you caught an awesome Royals game. Did you get to stay?
And I got to play Gold Mountain, which is a Muni course that is where Jordan Spieth met his caddy, who was caddying for Justin Thomas at the time. Whole story about it. Like they have a shrine there. It's pretty interesting stuff. But the Seattle area is an area that is ripe for great outdoor activities and great weather as well. So definitely would love to go back. Okay, we're ready for segment 3. Frank is back, and we will roll here in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Grill Nation show. I'm your host, Jason Grill. Thanks for joining us today again on 980 AM KMBZ, or if you're joining us on podcast, we greatly appreciate it. Or if you are luckily watching our live stream right now on social media, we are taping at a different time today than normal. We are all over my social media right now, and also you can find us on YouTube as well as at grillnationshow.com. Again, today we are joined by Chad Esslinger, who's the founder at Esslinger Financial, and Frank Sciara, who's the vice president at Grandbridge Real Estate Capital. The websites for those organizations, again, are Esslinger Financial, Esslinger financial.com, and grandbridge.com, just like it sounds, grandbridge.com for Frank Sciara's company. We are back. Frank, I want to start with you on this segment. Let's talk about multifamily. Obviously, it seems that you hear a lot about it these days. Why do you think multifamily is growing in Kansas City and throughout the country right now?
Yeah, great question. I think it was really started after the last, financial crisis, back in like 2007 and 8. Coming out of that, two things really happened. I think you had a whole people's mindset changed. It used to be growing up, it was, hey, you need to buy a home, you need to buy a home, you need to buy a home. That's going to be your retirement. You need to pay down. And that really changed after that financial crisis. And I think a lot of people at that point decided that, hey, renting isn't bad. It gives you more flexibility. You don't, some of these millennials maybe saw their parents maybe get upside down in their house back during that time, and they saw that, and that was maybe something they didn't want to experience. So I think there was a change in the mindset. You had to combine that with the baby boomers who were becoming empty nesters, and a lot of them wanted to downsize. So you had two very large demographics that were both renting. And then I will also say the apartments that they're renting today are not what maybe if somebody lived in a house for the last 10, 15 plus years, they haven't set foot in some of these new apartment complexes, they might be really surprised by some of the bells and whistles and the amenities. These new developments are so nice anymore. It's very different than what maybe some people might think of as an apartment.
Completely agree. I think that point gets discounted in the whole debate about new apartments or new multifamily, is that these places are like most of them nowadays, you have to really step to the plate with luxury amenities. And a lot of people want those, and they're able to get those with some of the best amenities you'd find from coast to coast right here in Kansas City, while still pretty much having a rent that is affordable, if you want to call it, compared to other cities throughout the country for very high amenities. So very interesting thoughts on that. What about you, Chad? What are you thinking right now around what you're seeing as far as, people or some of these places you might visit actually for some of your meetings when you're talking to clients?
Well, I was going to put this out to Frank too. I'm just thinking out loud here, but is there a lot of displacement geographically now to move into Kansas City that's causing people to want to have the flexibility to live in these multifamily apartment complexes? Maybe more so now than even 10, 20 years ago. We're seeing East and West Coast movement to the Midwest. I mean, do you feel like that's also bidding into this additional demand for real estate?
Yeah, I think so for sure. I think cost of living, as Jason mentioned, is a huge part of that. I mean, some of our, competing markets, maybe a Denver to the west. I mean, it's just gotten so expensive. I think a lot of people maybe 10 years ago that were moving to Denver, it's just they look at what it costs to live there now. Now they're looking at other places to maybe end up. And I think Kansas City is right near the top of that list. We've been a pretty big benefactor. I say this, and I don't think there's any way to measure it, but I think Kansas City right now, I credit the Royals winning the World Series in 2015 and then the Chiefs and Mahomes. Kansas City kind of has the cool factor right now. They're showing the live block when we have Chiefs games going on. And I think there's just kind of an energy. People see that and they just kind of want to be here. Again, I don't know how you quantify it, but there is a positive vibe, I think, with our market right now.
Yeah, we definitely need to continue that. We can't rest on our laurels. Let's put the foot down to the pedal down to the metal. Frank Sciara and Chad Esslinger. Okay, commercial real estate. What's the current state of the market, Frank? I mean, given COVID-19, office market, commercial market, it seems to me that there's going to be a lot of changes going on in that world if they haven't already.
Yeah, I'd start with industrial, which I touched on a little bit. Industrial is hot. They can't build it fast enough. Kansas City here has been a huge benefactor of e-commerce. There's studies you could reach 85% of the population within a 2-day drive. So we're seeing large online companies. They're moving their distribution facility here to Kansas City. I think you're going to continue to see that growth. I don't see that slowing down anytime soon. Shifting to office. Office is a question mark. There are questions about the demand for office space moving forward. How many companies are going to go to a hybrid model? How many companies are going to go to full-time, working from home? So it's a little bit, I'm not a believer that people are going to continue just to work from home. I don't think people maybe want to wake up and just walk downstairs and work in their kitchen all day. I think people like to leave the house or the apartment I think it's hard to train people. I think it's hard to hire people if you're working from home. So I do think at some point in time, I think office demand will come back. But right now it's question mark. And then retail's changing. It kind of ties in with e-commerce. Retail has really changed over the last 10 years, and it's going to continue to change as people buy things online. So now to be, I think, a good retail center, you need to have an experience. It can't just be they're going there to buy something. It needs to be lunch. It needs to be services. There needs to be other reasons why they are showing up there. So there's still good retail out there, but it's definitely changed, and I think investors and lenders are more selective on it.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. I very well said. With the commercial, you just see a lot of, if you guys travel a lot, there's cranes just all over the place in a lot of these cities still. So in these urban cores, whether it's multifamily or Class A office, it's still being built, and there's still a demand. So hopefully that will continue to go up again as well. And I really enjoyed the industrial comments because that's one of the key linchpins of what KCADC tries to do and what other organizations try to do as far as really kind of marketing Kansas City as a logistical kind of hub for companies, which I think is great because we are in the center of the business center of the country. We need to market that more and really kind of hone in on that in order to attract more money and more people, more commerce to Kansas City. Okay, so you guys both work in service industries. You talked about that. Personalized service and tailored financial solutions. Why are those things so important in your industries? Tell us about kind of the specific things that you like to focus on when talking to people about their specific needs and tailoring that to them. Chad, let's start with you and why you think tailored solutions are the best.
Well, I just think that people desire to tell one story, not four stories with four different people, right? So, when it comes to financial planning, it's people generally think about, well, you're going to manage my money, you're my IRA, you're going to manage my brokerage account. But I mean, that's just a part of the plan. It's not the plan. So we got to really dig deeper and actually know and learn, what's important, what are these individuals' goals? Because, there's a bunch of tools out there we can utilize, but the tools are no good and if we don't really know what the specific goals of each individual person is. So I think people desire a true person, a person that they can trust, believe, and like, but also has the knowledge and skills and the ability to be able to talk about wealth management, risk management, wealth distribution planning, as well as estate planning and tax planning. So as long as we can have the ability to have those conversations and understand and know when or how we need to bring in other professionals to make sure we get it done right. We work a lot with CPAs, estate planning attorneys, and individual client relationships outside of our firm to make sure that the client doesn't have to tell that story to multiple different people and everybody's on the same page. And I think that's a personalized trend. I think that's just going to continue to happen. I think people want to have somebody that has the ability to understand and implement everything.
Mm-hmm. Frank, you guys kind of do the same, right? There's just different stories, different pieces and facets of all these different projects you work on.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, every property is different. Every project's different. Every borrower has different goals. I mean, we typically start out having a conversation, really trying to understand what's the borrower's goals. How long do they want to own this property? Is this a legacy asset they want to put in a trust and pass down to the kids and grandkids? Is this a value add play? They want to increase the NOI. They want to renovate it and sell it. So really understanding kind of what their goals are first. And then, we work with almost 100 different capital sources, and most of those capital sources have multiple loan programs and whatnot. So it's our job to know the market and then go out. And once we understand what our borrower is looking for, is to kind of go out and really find the specific product that's going to help them execute their plan on that ownership.
Mm-hmm. Well said. We got about a minute and a half left in our third segment today, guys. Chad Esslinger and Frank Sciara are with me today on the Grill Nation show. Just tell me real briefly kind of how your industry's changed maybe in the last 5 to 10 years. What are some things that have changed? You both have been in the same careers now for, like we talked about, for a while. What has changed the most in the last 5 to 10 years? We'll start with Frank.
Yeah, on the commercial real estate side, I'd say here, in that time period definitely is property valuations. I mean, we've seen cap rates even here just over the last 24, 36 months have really compressed as cap rates come down. Inversely, values increase. So we've seen property values across the country go up. That would be one big change. I would say
Great.
another big change. I'm getting a little feedback. Is that mine on my end, or is that?
We got it. I got you now.
Okay. So valuation has been a major change. I'd say the second biggest change we've seen over that time period has probably been, I feel like commercial real estate's become more liquid. It used to just be controlled by maybe a small group of high net worth families, REITs. I think now it's become more liquid, and there's more people out syndicating deals. The average person can invest some of their money if they want to have a little bit of exposure. They can jump into a specific deal. So I think you're seeing more trading back and forth, buying and selling, versus maybe what you saw 10 plus years ago. I think people have exposure to, which I think is great.
Mm-hmm. Chad, real briefly, why don't you chime in on that as well?
Yeah, I know I touched on this a couple times, or maybe a little bit in the past, but I think the biggest thing is people are more pressed for time now. I mean, I think that time and people's ability to dedicate time has condensed. I mean, I think with technology, we're always on, and that could be a good and a bad thing, but people are tied to their devices, they're tied to their emails and inboxes. And so I just feel like getting people to dedicate time is more challenging right now, but still is obviously important. We're in a virtual world, creating efficiencies for both. I mean, for our team and our ability to reach everybody. And like Frank, we're not geographically tied to the Kansas City area. We have clients in, I would say, 30 to 35 different states now. So, we're not just in a world where we have to meet in person. So
yeah, you guys are both very busy, and excited to have you both on the show today. We're going to head to our last break here on the Grill Nation Show. We'll be right back with our final segment of the show today. Thanks for watching and joining us today on the radio, on podcasts, or on grillnationshow.com. Okay.
we're burning through this.
It's gone by fast.
Yeah. We got one segment, guys. This is going to be a shorter one. We had a little feedback there, Frank, but you handled it nicely.
I could hear it for a second there. I wasn't sure if that was coming from me or where it was coming from.
Okay.
Jason, did you stay for that Grand Slam of Sally's?
Yes, I was there.
Nice.
It was awesome. He had two straight days of them.
No. It's crazy.
People were mad up there with the Royals coming in and winning. I mean, they're in the playoff contention, so they were kind of shocked at the stadium, or even on the golf course. They were just like, "What's going on?"
Huh.
It's like, I don't know. This is great. Yeah, I'd love to go up there for a Chiefs game at some point if they have an early season game, and then golf at Chambers again.
Hey, let's not forget that we have a Mizzou grad, a K-State grad, and a KU grad all on one screen here.
There you go. Let's mention that
Kansas,
on the air.
That's Kansas City right there, isn't
it? Oh, man. Okay, we're rolling here in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Grill Nation Show with Jason Grill. I really hope that you've enjoyed the show today. We're talking with Chad Esslinger with Esslinger Financial. Their website is esslingerfinancial.com. Also joined today by Frank Sciara, who's the Vice President at Grandbridge Real Estate Capital. Their website is grandbridge.com. Check them out. It's fascinating discussions. We've learned a lot about kind of the different industries they work in and some of the trends, some of the updates, kind of the whys behind certain things happening. We're going to get into some questions now on our best for last that are a little bit less intense, I guess you would say. So I'll start with Frank. Frank, share with us some of your best advice. We ask this question on every one of our shows of our guests, maybe that you've been able to utilize throughout your career that's really kind of helped you on your journey.
Great question. One thing that's always stood out to me, I remember when I first got out of college, one of my first jobs, I was listening to a speaker. It was a very successful individual. He had made, developed properties, been very successful with businesses and everything. And he said, you will always continue to learn. Don't think because you're out of school that now you have a job is that you're not learning anymore. And I think a lot of people think when they were first graduating out of college or whatever it might be, they're like, okay, I'm done with school. Now I can go to work. And that really stuck to me, is that, with technology and the way the world's always changing, and it's a competitive market, and regardless of what industry you're in. I think continuing to learn is something that is really, I try to live by, and I think it's really important for anybody, regardless of what job they were doing.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't it be great if you could go back to school, if you were a multimillionaire and just, could like go to classes, you didn't worry about your grades or anything. You actually kind of try to learn and then consume the information instead of cramming for an exam. Anyways, that's something I always dreamed of doing one of these days. Chad, you mentioned on the last segment or on break that we were all three graduated from, whether it's grad school, undergrad, whatever, from MU, KU, and K-State. All three of us went to different schools.
That seems like a joke, like when you enter a bar and you have the but hey, we're still all having fun here. We're all good friends. So,
Chad, give us. I know you've probably answered this in the past, but give us a quick little best advice that you've been thinking about.
I think Frank hit it on the head. I mean, I'm a big believer in constant learning, and whether that's just reading or seeking out podcasts or obviously reading books, but I think I have a personal and professional coach that I meet with once a month that dives deep on what kind of personality am I. So I've done the Myers-Briggs. I'm an ESTJ, which is good and bad. But when you learn who you are and what your natural tendencies are, you can obviously start to determine what are my flaws and what are my strengths. And so, how do I continue to improve upon my flaws and also utilize and leverage my strengths? So I just think if you can continue to learn and seek out things that are inspirational, and also I have a vision board. I have a 1-year vision every year for what I want to personally and professionally do. And some days are not great, right? Some days are more challenging or less exciting than others. And writing and reading a compelling vision on a daily basis is powerful, and it's amazing. I've been doing this every year for the last 15 years. It's pretty much everything I've written down has come true. Some things haven't personally worked out in the time frame I wanted, but
I'm excited for you to write down that you're going to be a scratch golfer here next year. I'm excited for that one to come true.
I wrote down I was going to be a 12 handicap, Jason, at the beginning of the year.
I know you did. You're right. You can't make goals that are. I'd love to go. Buy a private jet, but that's not happening. So that's not a goal I have.
Hey, I got to a 12 though. Frank can realize how terrible I was at the beginning of the year. So
that's a great segue for my next question. That's why I was leading that on there, Chad. Was favorite golf course? You guys are both avid golfers. You've ever played? Let's start with Frank.
Oh gosh, that's a hard question. I feel fortunate. I've played a lot of great courses. A lot of my travel seems to be around golf courses. So if I had to pick one, I'd probably go with Oakmont Country Club. Famous old country club just outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I think it's hosted like 9 U.S. Opens, the last one in 2016 when Dustin Johnson finally broke through. I think it's considered by many golf experts as the hardest course in the country. It has the famous church pew bunkers that everybody's probably seen on TV, but great. Just the history, really hard course. I loved it. It was a great course. If you ever get a chance to play it, don't pass it up.
So good story. When we played at Chambers Bay on Friday, the guy I was with, his caddy was a caddy at Oakmont before he moved out there.
Okay.
So he was a caddy as a young guy, and then grew up in Pittsburgh, and then moved out to the West Coast. And so he was raving about it. So that's pretty funny that you mentioned that as your favorite one. I love it. Chad, what about you, man? You get out there.
Yeah, it's funny. Me and Frank actually got out with 2 years ago. Bethpage Black. Up in New York, amazing course, very challenging, beautiful course, and had all kinds of unique holes and different golf shots you had to do throughout the course. I will say, though, I think it's probably going to change within the next couple months. Me and Frank and a couple other guys are going to go play Congressional Blue Course up in D.C., and after a massive renovation, getting ready for the Ryder Cup, I'm sure it's in pristine condition. So really excited about that.
Can't wait to hear about it. Guys, you guys are both Kansas City guys and have lived here for a good amount of time. What is one thing you really like to see KC do or have that it currently doesn't do or have? Let's start with Chad on this one.
I mean, that's easy. A downtown ballpark. Needed. It has to be done. Just for a whole host of reasons: for fun, for commerce, for development, for the expansion of the city. We're building the streetcar. You got to have it go to something, and why not a downtown ballpark?
What about you, Frank?
I would agree. The airport's in progress, which we needed that, but I would agree. I think downtown stadium, that'd be top on my list right now, and I hope it gets done here in the near future.
I have a feeling it will, gentlemen. So that's an intuition I have that it will happen. Okay. What other things do I have here for you? Oh, you mentioned books, Chad. You let us know some of the books we should be reading right now. You said you read a lot. Tell us some of the books that you've recently watched or read that impacted you.
Yeah, so I'm actually rereading 12-Week Year again. This is a book by Brian Moran. It's condensing your goals from an annualized thinking to a 12-week thinking. And it's amazing when you spread out a goal over a year, it feels like forever to accomplish it. And what happens is people procrastinate. Inevitably, they don't achieve the goal. So condensing your goals to 12-week goals is critical. And it's just a great book. It goes beyond just goal writing, but just, our natural human tendencies. I love Green Lights. I may have mentioned this on the last show, Matthew McConaughey. I thought it did an awesome job. Quirky little book, but interesting read. And then Atomic Habits by James Clear is another great book around anything difficult is hard to do. And so how do we replicate it? Just like we want to get in the best shape of our life, but how do we formulate habits to make sure it happens? So it's just, those are just great reads, just in general, for not just finance or anything, but just to be better.
Do you read these books, the hard copy versions, or do you listen to them, or do you read them on your phone?
I listen to Audible. I just feel like when I go for runs or walks, it's just easier for me, or in the car. I'll do, or just when I'm getting ready in the morning, right? And you're kind of in that dead space while you're getting ready. I have the phone sitting on the sink, just listening to these books, and it's a good way to start your day. Or if you're on the library.
I was wondering if I could borrow these, just come over to your home library, but I guess I can't. Frank, real quick, we got to leave the show. Actually, what are you most excited about going into the fall season here in Kansas City?
College football. Even though I haven't had a lot to cheer for since Mangino left, I'm a huge college football fan. I'm excited about the new coach KU, and I love college football and pro football. Chiefs and Mahomes. How can you not be excited about that? So I think it's going to be another great year for the Chiefs.
Well, write that down, Chad. The first KU person we've ever had on the show in the last 8 years that's excited for college football, which I love to hear. Frank Sciara, Vice President at Grandbridge Real Estate Capital. Chad Esslinger, founder at Esslinger Financial. Websites again, esslingerfinancial.com and grandbridge.com. Thanks for coming on the Grill Nation show. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, guys. And thanks to the listeners for joining us today. Hope you've enjoyed the show. We will see you next week. Again, you can connect with me on social media. Just go to Twitter at Jason Grill or at Grill Nation Show. We'll see you next week. Okay, so we've taped the show. That was fun. We're now going to tape our sneak peek segment.
Yeah, I was curious on just knowing that this is coming. What were you going to make for the sneak peek?
I wanted to talk about your companies, but and just kind of how you guys help people and companies reach their goals. But we can talk about whatever you want. We have 2 minutes and 15 seconds. What is there anything specifically you wanted to mention? That's timely. That can weave you both in.
What do you think, Frank? Anything that comes to mind?
Nothing's popping at the top of my head.
Because we could talk to Frank about commercial real estate and multifamily, or Chad about financial. But I'm trying to figure out ways that we can merge you guys both into the question. And so that's why I thought it'd be interesting to just kind of talk about both your businesses. But I that's pretty quick, little answer there.
Yeah. On my side, obviously, the little, obviously historically low rates. Obviously, it's a nice little plug might get people's attention. I don't know how to tie that in with Chad, but
or maybe you talk about that. We talk about the trends. I like that. Just a quick, knock off your trends, Frank, with each industry. You did on that question, and then Chad, you can do that as well, kind of for what you're seeing.
In my industry, yeah.
Yeah, just real briefly.
Okay.
Okay, let me write that down here.
Okay. Chad, I'll let you start.
Sounds good, Frank. Appreciate that.
Make sure you leave it to under a minute.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Hi, this is Jason Grill, host of the Grill Nation Show. Thanks for joining us for this one question sneak peek. I'm joined by Chad Esslinger from Esslinger Financial and Frank Sciara from Grandbridge Real Estate Capital. Guys, quick question for you. What are some trends in both your industries right now? Let's start with Chad.
I think trends in general, technology, right? Technology for the platforms we use, the interfacing platforms our clients get to interact with, and what we utilize on the internal for our teams and our ability to be efficient. We're more virtual now than ever, and obviously that's been expedited by COVID. But I would just say the biggest thing is just the advancement of technology and the ability for us to build personalized plans that have incredible analysis and allows us to be more efficient.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Frank?
I would say interest rates. They're near at historic lows. It's a great time to be a borrower. Multifamily continues to perform very well. Industrial is a hot asset right now with the continued expansion of e-commerce. There's some question marks in the office space and demand moving forward. And we're seeing retail kind of have to reinvent itself to compete against Amazon and all the other online sources out there. But it's a good time to be in the market if you're a borrower.
It's going to be a great Grill Nation show this week with Chad Esslinger from Esslinger Financial, great personal wealth advisor here in Kansas City, as well as Frank Sciara, who is with Grandbridge Real Estate Capital, vice president there. We're going to get into a lot of different topics around kind of some of the industry issues that they're dealing with. We're also going to get to know a little more about them, and we're going to have some fun on the Grill Nation show this week. Thank you for joining us for this one question sneak peek. We look forward to hearing from you and seeing you soon. Really appreciate Chad and Frank for joining me on the sneak peek as well. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Okay. Hold on one second.